Hello everyone, welcome back to Bookworm World, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Niyati, and today I'm going to be reviewing Percy Jackson, the Percy Jackson series, the last three books actually. And this video is the second part of a series of videos in which I'll review all the books I have read in the first 3 months of January. So let us begin. And yes, I did lie last time. I said I was going to review Agatha Christie or Powerless, but that review is upcoming. So enjoy Percy Jackson while we wait. So I actually read the last three books in this year, and unlike the last series I have done, the first two books I read it like I think 2 years ago, and it's not even like 1 month or something. So I'm not going to bother reviewing them, but I'll give you a quick rundown of what happened in the other two books. So our main character, Percy Jackson, starts the series as a 12-year-old boy who discovers that he is the son of Poseidon, who is the Greek god of the sea and horses. He is taken to Camp Half Blood, where others like him, who have one human parent and one godly parent, train to fight against monsters. There, he befriends many other half-bloods, such as Annabeth, who is the daughter of Athena, along with Thalia Grace, who's the daughter. Sorry, I didn't explain who Athena was. Athena is the Greek goddess of wisdom and war strategy. And he also befriends Thalia Grace, daughter of Zeus, who is the king of the gods. And what else is the king of? No, he's the king of the gods, and he's also the god of lightning. And also Grover Underwood, who is a satyr, which is basically a creature who is half human, half goat, but he still has the brain of a human. Don't worry, we don't have to spend the whole series with just him saying there. Anyways, he also discovers that he has a younger half brother named Tyson, who is a cyclops, which is a creature that is humanoid, basically a human, just with one eye and has super strength, basically. So, in the last few books, it was revealed that Luke, the son of Hermes, who is the god of travelers, has betrayed them. He has gone over to the dark side, who is Kronos. Kronos is basically the god of time. He wants to destroy all the Olympians and all the dark, sorry, not dark, Greek. He wants to destroy all the Greek gods and become a god himself. Because what happened is he originally used to be the god of king of the gods, but Zeus, the current king of the gods, he overthrew him, and now Kronos wants revenge, but he's still weak from his overthrowing. So he's trying to gain power and followers, and Luke is helping him for that. And yeah, that's basically it. I think no, wait, I'm forgetting about something. The Great Prophecy. So the Great Prophecy is a mysterious prediction or a prophecy, which is its name implies it, made by the Oracle of Delphi, who is Oracle of Delphi is any human who is blessed with the power of Apollo, who is the god of the sun and prophecies. This will get a bit confusing, but I mean, if you're watching this video, I kind of hope you know a little bit of Greek mythology because it's very confusing. Anyways, so the Great Prophecy is a prophecy made by the Oracle of Delphi about a powerful demigod child of the Big Three. Big threes are the basically the main gods, you can say, who is Zeus, king of the gods, Poseidon, god of the sea, and also father of Percy, and Hades, god of the dead, and by by now he's not a father of anyone, but you will see. So the great prophecy. Anyways, I have derailed myself so much. Anyways, the great prophecy goes basically like this: a half blood of the eldest gods shall reach 16 against all odds and see the world in endless sleep. The hero's soul, cursed blade shall reap. A single choice shall end his days, Olympus to preserve or raise. Right, now we're done with the explanation part, which has taken about 5.5 minutes. Wow, I did not expect it to take that long. I thought it would be like 1 or 2 minutes. Anyways, let's start with the books I actually read in January. Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse. So the book starts with Percy, the main character, Annabeth, goddess of Athena, in case you forgot, and Thalia, goddess, daughter of Zeus, in case you forgot. Again, they were called by Grover Underwood, the satire, and I'm really hoping that you read Greek mythology. This is not going to make sense to you at all. Anyways, they're called by Grover Underwood to a boarding school because he's discovered two powerful half bloods. They have a policy in which, whenever they see any half bloods, they have to take them back to camp to properly train them because the monsters always want to fight the half bloods. So he needs Percy, Annabeth, and Thalia's help to take them back to the camp without any monsters catching them on the way. But as they are caught by a manticore, which is a creature with the body of a lion, a human like face, and a tail of a scorpion. The manticore can apparently talk, and it has named itself Dr. Thorn, which is, if you could name yourself, why would you pick Dr. Thorn? I would pick, I don't know, like the most awesome name ever, but like whatever. He's pretending to be a human. So yeah, he calls himself Dr. Thorn. But hopefully they have no chance of winning until they are saved by the goddess Artemis, who is the Greek goddess of the moon and hunting. Uh, yes. But during the fight, Artemis is captured by Dr. Thorn and he just falls into the sea, I think, off a cliff and just disappears with her. So, yeah, they're worrying about Annabeth now. Now, the two powerful half-bloods that I mentioned earlier, their names are Bianca and Nico something, whatever. Just deal with me. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Bianca and Nico. What a half-blood means and explains to them that no one knows their godly parents yet, but they can sense a powerful energy emanating from them. I do not know if I'm using that word right. Wait, you just adjust my setup. Anyways, Bianca is convinced to join the Hunters of Artemis, which is the yes, because Artemis is a hunter. She has hunters. Anyways, she's convinced to join the Hunters of Artemis by a girl named Zoe, who seems to be the second in command to Artemis. Artemis, Artemis informs everyone of her plan to embark in a hunt alone to find the dangerous monster, to find a dangerous monster which she has sensed, and she thinks that this will be vital in finding Annabeth as well. Anyways, Zoe, Bianca, Thalia, and Grover. Lot of names. I hope you can keep up with. Let me just say that slower. Zoe, Bianca, Thalia, and Grover set out on a dangerous quest to rescue Artemis as soon as she stops responding and goes missing. Percy secretly follows them using Annabeth's enchanted hat, which allows him to turn invisible. The rest eventually find out that he's been following them, which it was bound to happen anyway, and they decide that it is too late for them to send him back and he will just come with them on the quest. They face a lot of challenges during the quest, which drama. You know how I love drama. And eventually, in the final battle, this all escalates until they have the final battle. They discover that Artemis has been captured by Atlas for these past few weeks or months. I don't think it's specified in the books, but she's been captured by Atlas, who is a powerful titan. Titan is basically, to simplify it, oh my god, this is gonna take a long time. I think I should have memorized the first two books as well. So the Titans are basically, when Kronos was still the king of the gods, the Titans were basically the gods at that time. So they controlled everything. And when Zeus came along, the current king of the gods, he overthrew it. He overthrew them. Some of the Titans, they decided that they would come over to his side and he allowed them to live. But the rest of them, he banished them to Tartarus, which is basically a Greek hell, kind of, because they cannot die, they're immortal. And he got some new gods to fill up their places. So, anyways, Atlas is a powerful titan. He forced Artemis to hold up the sky, which is a curse meant for him, basically. In that world, the sky and earth are kind of colliding, and the only way it can be stopped and the universe is not destroyed is if someone is holding it up physically. And Percy temporarily takes this burden so Artemis can fight Atlas. And Zoe, remember her, commander of the, sorry, second in command of the hunters of Artemis, discovers, reveals, sorry, she knows that, she obviously knows. She reveals to everyone that Atlas is her father and is killed by him in the battle soon after. Artemis eventually defeats Atlas and forces him back under the weight of the sky. Luke, remember him from the beginning of the video when I recapped? Please remember him. He'll be important later. He'll be very important. Luke falls off a cliff and Percy assumes that he's dead. So after the final battle, Percy returns back to Camp Half-Blood and tells Nico of his sister's of his of Bianca's death. Bianca, basically in the quest, she died while trying to fend off a, you could say, giant robot. And Nico is heartbroken by this. He's angered by Percy. He's angered at, he's furious at Percy because Percy promised to protect his sister. And it turns out that Bianca is dead. He runs off in a rage and creates a large chasm along the campus of Half Blood, and which leads to a path to the underworld. So this reveals himself as a god of Hades, as a son of Hades. And after this, Thalia joins the hunters, which makes it unlikely for her to be the main part of the prophecy. Now, Percy continues on as he will probably be the one in the prophecy, as he's the only child, demigod child of the big three who has not run off or joined the hunters of Artemis and become immortal. And that is how the book ends. Now, my review. I rated this book 3 stars. I thought the premise was really interesting and like I was just really curious of how the story would pan out. But just like the character development was just like Percy was great, obviously. Percy, Annabeth, Grover, and Nico, they were great. But for Bianca and Zoe, I just felt like Rick Riordan, the author, he didn't really care about them. Like, what do we know about Bianca? We just know that she's Nico's older sister, and we're just supposed to care for her. But, anyways, possibly if the book was longer, it would have been possible to develop her character. But otherwise, it's a great story, great plot, great drama. The rest of the characters are good too, especially Nico. He's become one of my favorites, even though I still don't know how to pronounce his name. uh, I love how he's really happy, cheerful, and naive. But as soon as his sister Bianca dies, he just kind of explodes. Like, it's just, the scene is really dramatic. You just have to read it for yourself. But overall, I really like this. Now, oh my god, this video is getting a bit long. So I think I'll have to break this up because Percy Jackson is long. It's very long. So, thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And see you tomorrow or whenever the next video pops out. Anyways, bye. Thank you.